Hello, ninth graders. How are you? Here we meet again with the second part of our lesson that we started with a couple of days ago. That is the Information Age Internet History. And this is part 2, going for pages 80 and 81 in your student book. As we agreed in the first part, I want you to have your books with you as you watch this presentation video. In order to, if you want to write notes or even write questions if you want to ask questions later on, inshallah. Now, as you watch the video presentation or the presentation video, actually, you would find a couple or a list of questions after each paragraph discussed. Now, these questions are without answers. Now, this is going to be your next homework, inshallah. Once you finish watching the whole presentation, go back to these questions, find their answers in the passages we will have already discussed, and then write their answers on your notebooks in order to send them back to your teachers. Okay. Now let's move on with the part we are supposed to cover this time, and we are covering actually only 4 passages of the text. Speaking of website, the first website, the first webcam, the first blog, and the first wiki. Now let's begin with the first website. Of course, as you all know, when we speak of internet, we speak of websites, the different websites we access in order to look for a certain piece of information or whatever. The page you open is called a website, and usually each website is concerned with a specific topic or field, let's say. Now, let's go back in time and find out what the first website was about and when actually it was created. Let's read together. The World Wide Web was created by Tim Berners-Lee, a physicist working at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, back in 1990. The first website was info.cern.ch, and the first web page on this site had information about the World Wide Web project. The original web page doesn't exist, but you can see a copy of it on CERN's website. Let me read it again, and then we discuss the first or the main points. The World Wide Web was created by Tim Berners-Lee, a physicist working at CERN, the European Organization for Nuclear Research, back in 1990. The first website was info.cern.ch, and the first web page on the site had information about the World Wide Web project. The original web page doesn't exist, but you can see a copy of it on CERN's website. Now, before we go to details, I think those words or these words seem kind of difficult for you to understand, so I'm here listing their definitions to make things easier for you. Beginning with the word physicist. Now, physicist is different from physician. Physicist is an expert in physics, or someone who studies physics is called a physicist. Physician is the doctor, as you know. So you need to distinguish between a physicist and a physician. Physicist is someone who studies physics. Physician is the one who is or who works as a doctor. Then we have the word nuclear. Nuclear is relating, or it is something that is related to the nucleus of an atom. I guess you all hear about something called the nuclear weapon, for example. Nawawi, atom, nuwa, okay? So nuclear, it is that or it is a word that is related to the nucleus of an atom. Now, the World Wide Web, or this www we find in the beginning of any website address, is the initials of the World Wide Web. World Wide Web, or the websites, are those pages you open or you access when you are connected to the internet, trying to search for a piece of information or look for a certain topic in a certain field. Now, the first one invented or created the website or the World Wide Web was Tim Berners-Lee. Tim Berners-Lee, as it is mentioned here, was a physicist, an expert in physics, and he worked at CERN. CERN is an organization that is majored or that is specialized in nuclear research. It is only about physics and the nuclear research. And this happened all in 1990, which is not a long time ago, by the way. Speaking of the first website, the first website actually was, or the address of the first website was info.cern.ch, and if you now type this address on Google or whatever internet or the Internet Explorer you have, you would find the website. It is available there. But at the time it was invented or created, the first web page on this website was about the www, or the World Wide Web, telling us information about what this World Wide Web project is. It's not there anymore, but there is actually only a copy of it. And here I'm sharing you a copy of this web page. Now, this is the website, the original website, info.cern.ch. This is the first website. And this was the first web page on this site, and that was in 1990. It talks about the World Wide Web, defining what World Wide Web is, what it is all about. This is only a copy of it. It's not there anymore. Okay, now here you're gonna have a list of, or you're having a list of the questions. I want you to read them carefully and write their answers on your notebook, of course relating or referring to the text we have already discussed. Let me read you the questions and explain them if needed. The first question says, who was the first person to create the World Wide Web? Who created it? I think it is directly mentioned in the text. And what was his major study? Speaking of this person specific, what was his major study? His major study, let's say, what was his work? Or what was he an expert in? Also, it is mentioned there. The second question says, what was the first topic published on the internet about? The first time a web page was created, what was its main topic? What was it about? The third question says, if www, I mean the World Wide Web, was first created in 1990, then how comes that the first email was sent in 1971? Relate to the previous lesson. If you remember last time we said that the first email was sent in 1971, then how comes you're telling me now that the World Wide Web or websites were created first in 1990? So we speak of about almost 20 years, a gap of 20 years between both. So how comes the first email was sent in 1971 when actually there was no websites? The website was first created in 1990. Can you just explain this point for me? Of course, you need to go back to the previous lesson and try to figure out the point. Now let's move to the next passage, and that is the first webcam. I think you all now know what a webcam is. It is the webcam you find in your, or you have in your laptop. It is the cam you find or you have in your mobile phones, or even the cam, the separate device that you buy in order to put it somewhere in order to watch something or somebody. Now, what is the story of the first webcam? Let's read. Webcams are used all over the world for video links, video conferences, and security surveillance. However, the first webcam was created by researchers in a computer lab at Cambridge University in 1991 to see if there was any coffee in the pot. The camera, which was pointed at the pot in the coffee room, helped people in other parts of the building see the coffee situation and avoid any pointless trips. Let's read again. Webcams are used all over the world for video links, video conferences, and security surveillance. However, the first webcam was created by researchers in a computer lab at Cambridge University in 1991 to see if there was any coffee in the pot. The camera, which was pointed at the pot in the coffee room, helped people in other parts of the building see the coffee situation and avoid any pointless trips. Let's first see the meanings of the highlighted words. First, we have the word conference. Conference actually is a noun. It means a formal meeting for discussion. You hear of economic conferences or educational conferences. It is when people, officials, or people of a certain field gather or meet formally in order to discuss a certain topic or a certain issue. The second word, and that is surveillance. Surveillance is a noun and it means the careful watch of somebody or something. It is when you watch a person or you watch something for whatever purpose. Mainly or basically it is more concerned with security, with safety purposes. The next word is the word avoid, and it is a verb, and I guess that most of you are familiar with this one. To avoid something means to stay away or to keep away from doing something. Like when you um, eat healthy food, for instance, because you want to avoid health problems or heart diseases. So avoid is when you stop or you keep away from doing a certain thing. And the final word is the word pointless. Pointless is an adjective and it is derived from the word point. Then what does the word pointless mean? Pointless means for no use or purpose, like when you do something and it seems that your efforts are or go in vain. When we say in vain, it means that they are pointless, so you do them for nothing, for no use or for no purpose. After all, there's no result behind your deed. Okay, now going back to the webcam and the first webcam that was created. Basically, we know that webcams are used for links, video links, for video conferences and security surveillance. So sometimes I think we use this all the time, like when chatting, for example, sometimes you want to have a video chatting. Video chatting is when you want to meet somebody over the internet using your webcam. Or there are also video conferences. They hold conferences online or online conferences using webcams in order to be able to watch each other, but online. Also for security surveillance, and that is some people, for example, use webcams in order to watch their houses for the purposes of security and safety. Okay, now what about the first webcam, when it was first created? Actually, this happened in 1991 in Cambridge University. But actually, the reason behind the first webcam is a little bit kind of funny, let's say. The first time it was created, people created it in order to watch the coffee pot in the other room. So in the university, there was a coffee room, and in this coffee room, there is a coffee pot. Whenever a person wanted to have coffee, they leave their office, they leave their place, and they move to the coffee room in order to get themselves some coffee. But it happens sometimes that once they are there, the coffee pot is empty. So their trip to the other room is pointless. They go back having nothing in their hands. So some of the researchers invented this webcam, connected it to different computers in the university, and each person can watch the coffee pot from their place, from their office. If they want a coffee, they can watch it there. If it is full, they can go. If it is not, they don't have to make a pointless trip to the coffee room. And actually, I wanted you to check this on the internet. There is a short video about the coffee pot, or the first video filmed by a webcam. And here it is. Okay, now these are pictures taken by the webcam of the coffee pot. This is the coffee pot. As you see, sometimes it is empty, and some other times it is full. So people can tell if they can go have some coffee for themselves or not. By the way, this coffee pot later on was sold for over $1,000. Imagine. Okay, now here you have a list of questions, and I want you to answer them in your notebooks. The first question says, mention 3 uses of webcams. If I ask you what webcams are used for, I want you to give me 3 uses for webcams. The second question says, where was it first invented and when? I guess this is clear enough, and it is mentioned right away in the text. The third question says, for what purpose was the first webcam invented? What for? Why did they invent the very first webcam? What was the use of it? Okay, now let's move to the third passage, and this speaks of the first blog. Now, I guess that most of you know what a blog is, and perhaps some of you think of or dream of becoming famous bloggers, and some of you follow some bloggers on the internet from different parts of the world. So let's say that you know something about what a blog is, but when was it actually created, by whom, and what for? In 1994, Justin Hall started a web-based diary offering a guided tour of the web. As he continued, it became more personal, and his website is considered to be the first blog. However, the word blog only appeared in 1999 and is a shortened version of the 1997 word weblog. Again, in 1994, Justin Hall started a web-based diary offering a guided tour of the web. As he continued, it became more personal, and his website is considered to be the first blog. However, the word blog only appeared in 1999 and is a shortened version of the 1997 word weblog. Okay, so as it is clear here in this text, a blog was first created in 1994, but actually it started like a web-based diary. Now, what does the word web-based mean? Web-based actually is a phrase, is an adjective phrase. When I say that something is web-based, it means that it depends on the web or the internet. So when I say it is a web-based TV show, for instance, a web-based show, it means that this show is based on or depends on internet. It is more an online show. Then the word diary, and I think that most of you know what this word means. Diary actually is a daily record of everyday life or news and gossip on a particular topic. Diary is when you record your everyday life, and sometimes they call this part of a newspaper, this daily part of a newspaper about a certain topic as diary. Now, Justin Hall created this blog in 1994. In the beginning, it was only a guide for people to know more about the web and the internet. But as time passed, this website tended to be more personal. So Hall started to uh, go more for his daily life, to go more for recording his daily life. So it turned to be called a blog. That's why his website is considered as the first blog. But actually, the word blog is a newly invented word. The original word is weblog, but people do not say weblog, they say blog. They tend to, use the easier words or easier terms. So instead of weblog, it is blog. All right, now here also you have some of the questions I wanted to answer. The first question says, what was Hall's main purpose for creating his blog? When he first created the blog, what was his purpose? Why did he create it? The second question says, what is the origin of the word blog? What was it first called? And the third question says, when did it first appear? When did this blog first appear? I mean the website, I don't mean the word. Pay attention to this. Now let's move to the last section of this lesson. And here we speak of the first wiki. And I guess that you heard about this word wiki. And whenever you are, or you hear this word, the first thing comes to your mind is Wikipedia. And I have noticed this, that whenever I ask you, or teachers ask students for a piece of information or whatever, they immediately go for Wikipedia. What for? Why Wikipedia in specific? The answer is here in this text. Let's read it. A wiki is a website where users can freely create and edit web page content. The first wiki was called WikiWeb, and it was launched on 25th March 1995. It was created by Walt Cunningham for the Portland Patent Repository. Probably the most famous wiki site today is the free internet encyclopedia Wikipedia, which was launched in 2001. Again, a wiki is a website where users can freely create and edit web page content. The first wiki was called WikiWeb, and it was launched on 25th March 1995. It was created by Walt Cunningham for the Portland Patent Repository. Probably the most famous wiki site today is the free internet encyclopedia Wikipedia, which was launched in 2001. Before we move to details, let's have a look at these definitions. The word edit. I think you all know what the word edit means. We keep using it all the time, especially when we look at our photos and we think that they should be edited in a way or another. Okay, so the verb edit means to remove unnecessary material from a text, film, or a television program. So when you have, for example, a piece of writing You edit your writing in that you try to correct the mistakes or have it in a better form or structure. The second word is the word launch. The word launch means to bring or to make something available to the public. Like when we say iPhone 11 was launched in 2019. In 2019, it was launched means it was available to people to buy and sell and use. And the last word, encyclopedia, and I guess you know this word, it is a noun and it means a book, and sometimes it is also a group of books. Let's say it's a very big book that gives information about different subjects. And we used to have it actually a hard copy, as a hard copy, a real book. It's a very, very big and heavy one, where you can find different things about different subject matters. You would read about biology, you would read about uh, language, you would read about religion, you would read about different topics in the same book. Now let's go back to our main focus here, and that is the wiki. So a wiki is a kind of encyclopedia. It is a kind of open website, a free open website where you find different topics or different pieces of information about different topics: science, language, religion, human nature, different issues. Whatever you ask for, you would find it on a wiki website. And it was first launched, let's say, in 1995, and it was called at that time WikiWeb. But today we have this famous website called the Wikipedia, as you all know and use. Now, what is so distinctive about this or special about this website is that any user can access website and edit things there. So you might change a certain piece of information or add pieces of information. But of course, it's not free in that you might give mistaken information. No, actually, either you provide a reference, a book, you give the name of a book where you found this information in, or where you find this information, or your IP address is or would be available to everyone. So you would be IP address. I mean, it is something related to your computer, to your user, to you as a user. I mean, of the internet. So it's not something that is open to anyone. It is something that usually people do it when they know what they are doing. So you would edit something that you are sure about. Okay, now with regard to the questions I wanted to answer about, or to answer regarding this text, the first question says, how is Wiki helpful to people using the internet? If I am, as a user of the internet, how would Wikipedia help me? And the second question says, how far can users use a wiki? Now, if I want to access Wikipedia and I want to use it, how far can I use it? Is it only about extracting information, getting information, or there is something else I can do with this website? This is everything for today. Thank you for listening, and next time, inshallah, and that is gonna be on Thursday, we will finish with the text, with the last 3 passages of the text, and then so that we go on and start with something new next week, inshallah. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.